Okay, I am back. This is Melissa with The Creative Season. We are working on our spring home that is full of early spring colors with those beginning blooms coming out, and everything is very lush. We have been working on this painting, and now I'm going to come back in, and before I put in that next layer of paint for the detail, I'm going to come in and clean it up with some pen. I'm using a Micron pen. This is a size 505, but again, always use what you have, and I think my 5, it was getting a little bit low. I'm actually going to switch to an 8 because that is what I have. I think this is an 8 as well. 8 is pretty thick, but I'm gonna keep a light hand with it. It's all dry. I actually used my blow dryer to make sure that everything was nice and dry so I don't ruin my ink pen. I am just gonna do some light outlining. I needed to, remember my orange, the chimney had kind of blended. I'm gonna add in some detailed brick, just a little bit here and there, the top, and the sides here, kind of add in as if it was maybe, you can see the detail of the roof. And the idea with this is not to outline it, but to add detail and to kind of what I call clean it up, especially when I had done a very loose watercolor and we were working quickly. And when we work quickly with watercolor, it's very easy for things to get messy, right? Now I'm going to clean up my windows. I am going to put an outline on all the windows here. And as well as the outline, I've got the window here, we've got the ledges. So we can do an outline on our ledges. And I'm also going to use some detail to create the panes. We were talking in the first video of the first part of our spring home that this is a home that's modeled after the Georgian style home and that was popular in the 17 to 1800s. And so, okay, and I think that was really more of a East Coast and the South. Of course, 17 to 1800s, California where I live was not quite so, not too many homes going up at that time, if I'm remembering my history correctly. So that's probably why this is when I lived in Boston for a year, I remember seeing these beautiful Georgian style homes. And again, you kind of have that, instead of the arch of the roof, the flat roof, the windows across, it has a certain kind of Greek style square looking to it, right? There's not a lot of curves. And so what I'm going to do with my windows is I'm going to make sure, again, I'm not necessarily outlining all the way down, but so that each of them has about 12 panes. So 3 rows down, about 4 rows across. And that one's really dark. We're going to put in, use my white gel pen and add some detail there. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll start on either side, right? So then there we go. And if we go outside the lines, that's not a big deal. Again, just doing a little bit of emphasis here of my shadowing. And we're going to come back with color. There's my door here, and you can decide what kind of style doorknob you want. If you want it just around, if you want a little fancy, if we want to do a little of let's pretend they modernized it, this door. They have even a nice glass pane there. Okay, we're going to come back and add some color in there too. Okay, and then we have our path here. So I just kind of messy, right? I'm just kind of outlining the path. And then remember our path kind of went back here and then it disappeared. So just some outlining, little bit. Okay, now what I want to do next for this is I always kind of take a look over. I usually do a little bit of an outlining with my tree that's in the very most front because that is where the most detail is. I'm also going to do some ink right in here with my flowers. Give them some stalks, kind of add some depth to them, right? If I want to, I can maybe do a little bit of blooms here, over here, just itty bitty. And I'm going to come back with green and go over this, back here some more. There we go. Now the hill, I don't want to do an outline, but I'm just doing a little bit. Showing some curves, we'll do some green in there too. I'll do a little bit of right in here. Think too, more shadowing the darker right underneath where all the leaves are. And I think I'm going to do a little branch coming off here. So we'll do a little outline. If you want to draw some lines in your tree, just to show all the bark and maybe some more. I need to do some more leaves with this guy. Just a few with this guy. Again, just a little bit of detail, nothing too fancy here. I will go down the side of my house just to show, and I need to darken up the edges a little bit so I can accentuate where the house starts and the yard stops, right? I don't usually do too much outlining here because I'm gonna actually use the green and put some color of some bushes and whatnot going there. Okay, so that's great. Now if you wanna add like a little bit of detail to the grass, feel free, or even in the trees, if you want to just do some little, this is our forest. We're going to do, again, the most detail on this guy. If you want it, you certainly can. You don't have to, though. Whatever you really like to do, do it. If you want a more looser color, you might not want to add any ink at all. I like to add a little bit. Okay, before we add more paint, make sure that you finished up. I'm going to take my white gel pen, and I just found this at Michael's. You can find this at any hobby store, Hobby Lobby, any online store, any scrapbook store. And this sometimes is nice to show just a little bit of a reflection in the windows. Is what I'm going to do here. If I've gotten too much color and I wanted to put in some white, I can. I don't actually have too much where I want to add a lot of white in this one. Maybe a little bit on the tree just to show the variegation of the trunk, but not too much. I might take my black pen here and go a little bit here. Okay, now that I've done this, I kind of take another look around the whole painting, see what I like. It's coming together really nice. You can see we're even a little bit of pin right on the house. It really adds a lot of detail, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get a little closer so you can see. We had the sun come out for just a bit. It's a rainy day today. We were talking in the first video. I love the April showers because they bring lots of May flowers, right? Okay, so I'm going to take my paint. Now for this next part, I'm using smaller paintbrushes because this is more detail and I don't want my paint to run as much. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to grab some green. I am going to do some green here. I'm going to just finish up at the top of this branch, just adding in some more green. Now too, what I might like to do is I might add some yellow to my green to give it a nice lighter green. And since I'm not drawing, I'm not trying to do the shape, I'm actually kind of painting a little bit on the upside down, but that is fine right here actually. So paint here, throw these colors here a little bit darker, just where my shadowing is. If you feel like it's too dark, just take your water, dip it in the water, then come back and just dab, dab, dab. I am doing a lot of lifting up here. Like that, very good. Now, over here where I thought maybe we'd have some shadowing. After all, the sun is setting, so right, we've got more shadowing going on here. This is gonna be darker. I'm gonna just add some water because I want to finish up and just add a little bit more green. Especially, I'd avoided the side of the house because I don't want to get color onto the yellow. The problem with doing the yellow house, right, is that if you get dark colors onto the yellow, it's gonna be a lot harder to get those off. And then down here, we didn't do too much, and since it is the sun setting, I'm gonna add in some green, and I'm gonna add some more water, so it's nice and wet, and I can just dab it. I love it when the paint will just dance and start moving around by itself too. That's really when I think watercolor really shows off the best. And I'm gonna put green. This is, you know, just think about you've just been drenched with rain and everything is super green right now, right? We're gonna go do some dabs of green there. Now I do wanna come back. I'm gonna grab the yellow. And I'm gonna dab some yellow right over our orange. We're gonna come back with more orange too, so just dabbing. You can do some flickering if you want. I didn't do too much. I like to do some splattering, but I didn't do too much with this painting. Maybe in the next house drawing we'll be a little more free and do some more splattering. That's always a lot of fun. Now around the tree, I've left it white there, but maybe if I just want to add a little bit of green yellow there, just so it's all blending in. I want white, but maybe not too much white. And then again, a little bit of shadowing. That's looking up in the hill, so we're not gonna see too many distinct flowers because it's much farther away. When I come back to the forefront of my painting, I think, okay, you know what? I feel like my sky is blending here, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more color there, so when it dries, you have the distinct tree in front, right? Okay, and that is really coming along nicely. I really love this. Now, do I want to go just a tad darker on my roof? I think I do. Again, just showing the shadowing. I'm leaving some light there though too. And we have that, not too dark though, right? I don't know. I kind of love the warmth of this particular brown. And I just think it goes really, really nicely with the warmth of spring. So I'm going to do a little bit of brown down here, a little bit on our path, because the sun is setting, so we want to show those kind of shadows starting in right. So maybe just down the middle of your path, and I'm going to put a little brown here because our path is disappearing that way. Disappearing behind the trees, which I always love. I can even do, let's see if this will work, a little bit of brown here to show that path to come, just continuing on. Always, we don't have to do everything so exact. I think one of the fun things when we're creating these whimsical illustrations and these pieces of art is that we're creating an idea and an impression, and the brain will fit in the missing parts. So don't feel like we have to do too much. And I'm going to just dab in some blue right on top. When you do watercolor, it's not like acrylic, so it's harder to get that sense of texture, but when I find that I just dab on another darker, more intense color, a layer of it, I can kind of create that sense of depth that I'm going for. I like it, I want it to pop. So just dabbing on some more colors. If you find that you go over, not a big deal. Oh, I've got hair there. I'm going to put some blue right back there. It's a little bit moist, but the paper's pretty dry right now. Now too, if I wanted to add just a little bit more, maybe I'll do a few flowers right here. Just adding them in, whatever you want to do though. This is your beautiful, beautiful painting. Okay, I always like to take another look and think to myself, okay, what else do I need to do? It bled a little bit up here, but you know what? Instead of trying to fix that, I'm just going to kind of pull it down. Oops, and I have some blue. I don't want to pull the blue down though. I cleaned off my brush there, so I just have, I will grab a little bit of yellow here. And go once more. I just wipe it over the whole thing up here. You'll see it even bleeds the pen. That's fine, because my roof is nice and dark. We'll let that go. Then what I'm going to do, I've cleaned my brush off. I go back with the yellow, and I'll just go down here like this. And we'll just pull it through, and I'll pull this down. You just go with the flow with watercolor. Sometimes that happens. I just add some bright yellow here. Okay, and then over on this side, and then finally too, down below. So we're all showing our shadowing. Really, really pretty. Okay. And I think I am about done here. If I know you do reach a point with watercolor where we can certainly go overboard. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop before I just do too much. We always want to avoid getting muddy is what I call it. Okay, and I think this is really, really fun. I think this is super cute and springish and very, very happy. And I think it's lovely. I'll probably go ahead and pop the final copy, the final picture over one of the pictures either on my blog if you want to check it out at thecreativeseason.com. If you like this video, if you'd like to see more of spring houses, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you would like me to create and to develop tutorials that you can paint along with. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful spring day, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.